G'day guys, welcome back to SuperCoach with DR and welcome to the Round 5 stock market video, where I'll take you through all the relevant players' break-evens. We'll look at those best buys, look at some pods, look at those players that we probably need to look to get out of our sides, and as always, those players just to keep on our watch list for one reason or another. So we'll start off with the defenders that are over 500k. You'll notice as well that I have added a couple of extra icons this week, and I'll talk about those when I get to them. Look, the best buy, it was probably between Doherty and Haynes. Haynes had a magnificent week last week, and I really rate him as a pod also. But if you look at that break even of 62, an average of 121, I think Doherty is the best buy, but you should have him by now. I doubt whether any good teams wouldn't have Sam Doherty. So given the fact that most of us would have him, I'd most likely have Haynes as the best buy there. Braden Maynard is a buy now for me. You know, scores of 104, 105, 125, 118, 116, has not gone under the ton all year. I don't think there's any reason to doubt him anymore. I even thought to myself, well, look, now that Jeremy Howe's out, could that affect him? Nah, didn't. 116 over the weekend with Howe out of the side, so he's a buy now for me. Sard and Daniel are both like as pods. Daniel more than Sard. I'm cooling a little bit more on Sard as compared to what I was a week or two ago. The Seagull, Jake Lloyd, always got to have your binoculars on him. Break even of 106, more than capable of getting that, but I think he'll come down at some stage during the year and I'll snap him up. You should have traded Jeremy Howe by now. Crisp, I've got the roller coaster there. So that's a new symbol that I've got, new icon. I think with Crisp, if you select him, you'll get some nice scores of 100 plus, but then you've also got to accept some scores around those 60s as well. So I think if you select Crisp, it's a roller coaster ride, but there's so many other better options this week, particularly given his break-even of 113 there. Sicily, I probably should have had the roller coaster on him as well, but I've got the binoculars on him. Look, he was one of my best buys last week, and it's amazing what can happen in 1 week, isn't it? Because we see his break-even go all the way up to 142 after a really poor score over the weekend, so don't bring him in now. If you did last week, I still don't think it's a disaster because I think that'll be pretty rare getting those 40s, but don't bring him in at the moment. Definitely wait a week or two. And you've got to trade Basher if you've got him. He's not going up to the hub for family reasons. Fair enough for Basher. But if you've got him, get rid of him. On to the mid prices now. So up the top there, you got Griffin Logue, who has a break even of -7. I wouldn't be looking at him whatsoever with a price of 357. And the best buy by an absolute mile is Jordan Ridley. So a break even of only 11, an average of 113. These are his scores so far: 100, 94, 134, 122. He's got a great role for SuperCoach. His disposal is the cleanest I've seen in a very long time. He's tipped to go up about 35 to 40k after this round, so that'll send him 500k plus. So if you want to get him, it's not too late. It would have been ideal to get him in, 2 weeks ago when he was closer to that 350 mark. But if you do want him, you can still jump on him. And I think he is a really, really good buy, even at that price of 460. The next pod I've got there is Tom Duday. Scored really well for my team over the weekend. The reason why I brought him in, and I said this in my review video, is because I thought he was the cheapest best 22 intercept defender in any side. So here's the reason that I got over the 2k mark last week, I think, with a really good score of, I think it was 116. Houston, bloody Houston, roller coaster. I trade him out. I said in the last video, great feeling, don't have to worry about him now, and he goes 100 plus. But I think those will be few and far between. I'm hoping anyway, given the fact I've got him out now. But I think he'll be a roller coaster if you've still got him. Now, this is a man that I think could be a really, really sneaky pod, and it's Brad Shepherd. Didn't think I'd be saying that, but I've looked into Brad Shepherd. He's in less than 1% of sides, and I'll just read out his scores, his 5 scores. You've got a 94, a 67, not great, but then a 99, a 102, and a 116. So if you look at those 4 scores, take out the 67, 94, 99, 102, 116. He's pretty consistent, this bloke, and they'll be back in WA. I think that he could be a very, very sneaky pod, Brad Shepherd. And look, if Jordan Ridley wasn't around, I think that I'd be seriously looking at him, Brad Shepherd, just to be a little bit different And given the fact that he's got those consistent scores, he's certainly best 22, an experienced player. What is the negative, I suppose, is that he can play that lockdown small defender role at times, and he's never been a premium defender, and he's been in the game or in the system for a long time now. But certainly one that I'm keeping an eye on and could be a very, very sneaky pod. And Luke Ryan, I've got the binoculars on just because I rate him as a possible top 10 defender if everything goes well. Continuing with the mid-price, well, I've got binoculars on Rory Laird. I was talking to Spills on the weekend on, it was either Instagram or Twitter. And yeah, shout out to Spills, really good bloke. And I think we'll look to get to organise to get together to do some sort of a podcast in the next few weeks or so. But Laird, we were saying that he's almost like a poor man's seagull, Jake Lloyd. He gets a bit of the ball, but just doesn't use it really, really well. And I'm not loving Rory Laird, but if he gets cheap enough, or if he can put together maybe 2 or 3 weeks of 100 plus or close to 100 plus scores, then I may look to get him in, but I'm not overly keen on him. Lockie Weller, certainly not at this price. He's got a high break even, but he could be a pod that I think could finish in the top 10 defenders if all thing goes well. So just maybe keep him on your watch list. Shannon Hearn, I'm not a fan of him, you know that, but if you are, he's got a high break even. Keep him on your watch list. He will be cheaper in the coming weeks. Sal Rampy, get rid of him. I've got his name right this week as Rory Laird. He was Rory Laird last week, and I think it was Dean Rampy, but get rid of him. Look, I suppose you could keep him because he's at 439, but I'd be certainly jumping up to someone like a Ridley if you haven't got him. Zach Williams, binoculars on him. He's injured, but when he comes back after a couple of weeks, maybe look at him. Stewart, you need to sell because he won't be back anytime soon. On to the defenders that are less than 300k. Here's a new icon as well. I've got the JS, so this stands for job security. So I've got Butler, Noble, and Zerk Thatcher with some questionable job security. There may be some other rookies there that have questionable job security as well, but they're the three that I think you just got to watch and be careful of. Fisher maybe as well, may have some questionable job security there. Starsvich, you know, that's another new icon, and it's the axe on the chopping block. So look, when a rookie's break even is higher than their average, then there's some warning signs and some signs that maybe we need to look to trade out this player. So given the fact that Starcevich's break even is 70, his average is 64, he could be someone that you could look to trade out this week and put him on the chopping block. But for me, I'm keeping on to him because he has had some pretty consistent scores for a rookie, I think. Best 22, got that DPP status, so I'm going to keep on to him for now. But I would not blame you if you look to move him on, if you're, looking to upgrade to some sort of a premium. The midfielders, 500k plus. Look at those, well, not too up the top, but Berry and Clugger, my two boys. Two favourite players from Brisbane. Love these guys. I really wanted to recommend Huey more highly to people as a SuperCoach pick, but I was worried slightly that my bias was coming into it. I did do a review video on him earlier on in the year and sung high praises of Huey's. But yeah, look at 580. Is there value? He's got a break even of 80 with an average of 113, so there could be some value there. But look, his price is climbing. You needed to probably get him a little bit cheaper, I think. Steele's a man up there, so talking to John O'Carroll a bit over the weekend as well. Shout out to you, mate. He wanted to keep this one pretty quiet, but unfortunately I've had that many questions about it that I couldn't keep him quiet. Sorry, Jono. So as a pod, a break even of 75. Look at that average, 118. So compare that to some of the other premiums you've got there. Bont, Titch, Jelly, Dunkley even. It's a pretty nice average, isn't it? So he could be someone, if you're looking to go a little bit different, to jump on there. Binoculars on Danger. His break evens come all the way down to 80 now. So if you're looking to possibly take a risk, you could get him in, but I'm not overly confident with his form at the moment. Dunkley, you've obviously got to sell. Binoculars on Titch, Jelly, and Merritt. Look, why have I got the binoculars on them? Because I think, again, they could be top 8 midfielders. So you always got to keep an eye on these guys if you haven't got them in the side and wait till their break even, gets really high. Then they lose some money, and when it becomes low, maybe look to get them in. And Bont, I've got as a roller coaster for obvious reasons. I don't have to explain too much after his last couple of weeks. Onto the other midfielders, 500k plus. Well, you've got Adam Treloar there. First game back from injury, 119, which is pretty nice. You'll notice I've got the binoculars on every one of these guys, pretty much simply because I think that they can all finish around that top 10 again. So basically, anyone that I think can finish around the top 10 in their position and they're not in my side, I'll always have the binoculars on them. And some of these guys are in my side, but I'm assuming that some of you may not have these guys, so that's why I've got the binoculars on all of them. But look, Jack McRae, big break even, worries me slightly. If you've kept 5 for that first week, you may look to hold on to him now, if you have kept on to him. Gaff, he's been a nice pod, but he's got a high break even now, so I wouldn't look to get him in this week. There's another West Coast player that I like a lot better at a lot cheaper price than him. Boak, he's been a great pod as well, but break even of 142, probably wouldn't look to bring him in this week. And Clary Oliver, he's just so messy with his disposal. Clary, I was watching him pretty closely on the weekend, and yeah, that does worry me a little bit with Clary. Gets a bit of it though. Onto the mid-price midfielders. Well, the best buy I've got there is Elliot Yeo. So look, has not set the world on fire, but has gone down 105k. Scores of, well, a really underwhelming 57, up to 110, 71, 59, but back up to a 121 on the weekend. And look, these are big assumptions, but I am just assuming that given the fact that the Eagles boys are back in WA, they'll be close to friends, close to family, familiar surroundings. They'll, obviously be at home. I think that'd be really beneficial to these players. So if you've got someone like a Lockie Whitfield already and you're looking to trade out a Matty Rao, I think Yeo could be a really sneaky buy there. Look, his average still is lower than his break even, which is not a good sign. But look, I think with a break even of under 100, you could take a little bit of a gamble and he could reward you with a couple of good scores, Elliot Yeo, given the fact, as I said, that he is back home. Same as Tim Kelly. The battery's running low. Sorry. But same as Tim Kelly there, with a break even of 102, measly average of 86, but someone maybe to look at. Cogs, he worries me. I should have probably had the roller coaster on him, but I'm just keeping an eye on him just in case. Viney, yeah, what do you do with him? Melbourne has those double games coming up, but break even of 136, yeah, I would not blame you for trading at all, but I think most of us probably have bigger problems, unfortunately. And that bigger problem is most likely to do with the bloke that's sitting underneath him there, Matty Rowell. I've got the sad face there because I'm devastated, shattered, really shattered for this young man, actually, and shattered for the competition, for the Suns and AFL in general, because, there was talk that this bloke was going to win the Brownlow. He was certainly a keeper in my eyes, but so unfortunate. We need to trade him out now. I think that there's talk that he's having surgery now, and he'll be out for the majority of the season. So unfortunately, big sad face. We need to get rid of our man, Matty Rao. Onto the midfielders under 300k. Up the top, you got Tommy Green. He's now at 238k. I'm spewing that I traded him out after round 1, but he's still got a break even of negative 26. Can you bring him in? I think that you can. I'd be begrudged to do it because he's, gone up almost 100k, but if you're desperate and you need someone in around that price, then possibly he will make some more money. But, yeah, you are paying, obviously, a fair bit extra for him. I've got the new icon there, the JS icon, which is obviously for job security. So, Harley Bennell, if he plays, I think we can get him in. But that's a question. Does he play? When will he play? Sam Philp there. Again, I've got the job security icon on him. I'm just not too sure. I think that he'll be very much in and out of the side depending on injuries, so I wouldn't count on him playing each week. Mitch Hibberd also got the JS on him. I think he may go out when some other players come back in, such as he merits. Harrison Jones, I've got as the best buy there. He played his first game over the weekend for the Hawks. Didn't set the world on fire with a score of 54, but break even of -5. That'll continue to go down, obviously. So I think he's the best buy this week, purely due to the fact that he's got a price of 123,000. His job security, I'm not too sure about, but I do have a couple of mates that are Hawk supporters, and they both rate this kid pretty highly. So I'm not, aware of Alistair Clarkson's plans, but if he plays, I think you could look to get him in. Onto the Rucks. Darcy Cameron, the job security. Yeah, not too sure what happens with him. Cox hasn't been playing that well either, so does Cameron come back in? I'm not too sure, but I wouldn't be selecting him or bringing him into my side. Pretender Pitney, so he's the king, he was the prince. Is he a pretender? Well, that's a bit harsh because he started at a very cheap price. Look, a break even of 76. I still think that he'll make some more money, but I'm looking to get to Gorn ASAP. And you'll notice that I've only got two buy it nows there, which is Grundy and Gorn, because they're the only two I think you should be looking at, apart from the pod there, which is Todd Goldstein. So if you've got any of these other ruckmen, I don't think it's necessarily a really bad thing, because someone like English is coming into, a little bit of form, but ultimately we should be looking to get either Grundy, Gorn, or Goldstein into our sides at some stage. The forwards, 500k plus. Look, these guys have all performed really well. Apart from Dusty, you'd say Wingard, Petracca, Greenwood, Simpkin, and Malters, I think are all good picks if you're looking for a forward. Dusty, I wouldn't be bringing into the side. I think if you've got him, you probably hold him, but you certainly wouldn't be looking to actually bring him in. Wingard was a little bit more disappointing over the weekend, but he's got the cheapest break even out of all the players. But look, I had the same question over and over and over. Which players do you rate in order? Simpkin, Petracca, Baz, and Rosie, sorry. Rosie was the other one. And I went Simpkin, Petracca, Smith, Rosie. And it seemed like that was probably the correct decision in the end. But in saying that, you can't plan for a concussion from Baz, unfortunately. And for his owners, such bad luck. Yeah, terrible news. But he'll bounce back. He's a terrific player. And he'll get that average, getting close to 90 or 100 in no time, I don't think. Onto the mid-price forwards. Well, I've got Benny Keys there as a bit of a pod. He's been playing that lockdown role in the midfield. 100 over the weekend. Reminds me of an Angry Bird with his haircut there, Benny Keys. But being an old Brisbane Academy player, I've got a soft spot for him. He was a much-loved character around Brisbane. So all the best of luck to Benny Keys. I wouldn't be bringing him in, but someone a little bit different as a pod with a very low break-even that will most likely make some quick cash. Darcy Fort, I was close to bringing him in after round one, but he wasn't selected, so obviously I wasn't going to bring him in, but always going to have questionable job security with Stanley down there. I know he's injured at the moment, but look, does Stanley come straight back in? I'm not too sure. Such a risky pick, Darcy Fort. I wouldn't be bringing him in purely because of that job security. Ben Long, bit spewing on this because I brought him in. He gave me a couple of really bad scores in the 40s and 50s, and then gave a couple of decent scores as soon as I got him out, but break even of 28. He's looking a lot better now, but I probably wouldn't be looking to go there. Lambert, I've got as a pod. Look, he's only had an average of 85, had a really nice game over the weekend, but a couple of things. He's got a low break even there of 28, and we know that Richmond aren't taking many players up to the hub. We know they've been ravaged with injuries over the past couple of weeks. And I think he'll get more responsibility through the midfield. I think that being one of these senior players, he'll really look to step up in the absence of some of these other blokes that won't be playing. So I think that this week he could be a very, very sneaky pick and someone that could really hit some form. Now, the next guy, Andrew Stay, I'm sure. Yes, wrap with this pick. Break even of 30 now. 434,000. I kept on to him because I wanted to see how he'd perform without Fife in the side, and I was absolutely stoked. So, wrap with this pick now. Going into the future when Fife comes back, I don't expect that time on ground to be as high as it is and those scores to be as high as, well, that score to be as high as it is into the future. But short term, yeah, loving having this guy in my side. The buy now there, I've got as Dan Butler. So, again, like Maynard, I've just given in now. If you want to select him, go for it. I'll always be worried about his role, but he's still got a break-even of 53. You should have got him in a few weeks ago, but I never recommended him too highly because I was just too worried about him, and I'd never seen anything like this. Well, no one had seen anything like this score-wise from him before, but he's playing out of his skin, career best form, and the Tigers probably wish that he was running around in the yellow and black at the moment, I think. And the other one I've got the binoculars on there. Another bit of a sneaky pick who's a bit of a pod is Brandon Parfitt. So an average of 105, break even of 74. I like, Petrarcas and Simpkins, these guys a lot better, but he is a lot cheaper. These other guys are getting more expensive now. So someone to keep on your watch list and could be a sneaky pick because I do rate him as a player. I think he's a really talented player. On to arguably the best buy of the round, Lockie Whitfield. So average of 78, break even of 78, but remember that average is a lot lower than what it would actually be if you took out that injury-affected game. So very, very popular trade-in target this week, and for good reason. He's got that DPP swing, so you can get him in your midfield, and then eventually, hopefully, moving into the forwards or just get him into your forwards straight away. So the best buy by a long way here. You've got a couple of sells there. DeGoey, unfortunately, he's got that core case going on. He's not playing this week. I'd be worried about him going into the future, so I'd just cut my losses now probably and upgrade somewhere else. Gary Ablett as well. Look, the main man. He served us so well in the SuperCoach community for years and years, but I think it's time to sell. He's still at 458, so you can move him on to another good player in the forwards, I think, but at 146, he's probably a sell for me. The two binoculars I've got there, well, the first one is Dev Smith. Look, with Dev, he's had a couple of good scores to start off with, 105, 105, and I think it's been 70, 70. So, look, just keep the binoculars on him. I think he's a pretty safe F6, but you could look at possibly, in a couple of weeks, getting the man down the bottom into your side, Bailey Smith. So really unlucky for this bloke on the weekend and for his owners. I think he's in about 10%. I'm not exactly sure on that. That's just a rough guess, I think. But really unlucky. Was having a great start to the season. But what you could do is possibly look to trade Devon Smith to Bailey Smith in a couple of weeks. We'll see what Dev Smith produces. If it's nothing great, then I'd be not against that move because I really rate Bailey Smith, or Baz as everyone refers to him. I really rate him as a player, and with that high break even at 171, you could be looking at getting him at close to 400k in the next couple of weeks. Vandermeer, break even of negative 27, 225, average of 63. I wouldn't be getting him in. A little bit too expensive now. The bloke that you look to get in is Jake Hartz. Obviously, if he's selected, but we know the situation with Richmond at the moment. And that's another thing. I'm spewing that I traded out Pickett now because I certainly think that he'll most likely come in and get a game. But you can't predict these sort of things, I know. But he's a bloke to get in this week if you're looking to get in a rookie. He's a forward only, which is a little bit frustrating. Would have been ideal if he had a DPP swing in the midfield. But he's your best buy in the forward line. Tommy Berry, questionable job security. He had a fantastic game, and I love this bloke. I think he had so much to the Brisbane side. But Chris Fagan said that he has come in to play Dane Zorko's role. So I think Zorko may be coming back in this week. And as good as Berry played, he does play that Zorko role, that exact role. So he may find himself out of the side again. Very, very unlucky. I'd love to keep him in, and I hope that he does stay in. But I wouldn't be too sure with Zorko coming in. Jermaine Jones, not too sure about his job security either. Now, one I've got with the binoculars. Would you believe this? Jack Riewoldt has an average of 44 and a price of 257,300. You wouldn't believe it. So I've got the binoculars on him because he could be a really, really cheap option if you're looking to get someone in and we just don't have that cash. And maybe you could look to even downgrade one of your mid prices down to a Riewoldt, for example. So, keep him on your watch list. Certainly he's got a hit form. It's way too low for Jack. I won't be bringing him in because I don't really have a reason to. But if you do have a reason to get someone in around that price, then Jack could be a man. I'd probably wait to see at least one good week from him though. And Butterick there, he is on the chopping block for me. I'm not going to be trading him out personally. Sorry when I say for me, because I like his DPP swing, and I'm going to give him another week because he's not a priority for me. I'm looking to get out Brown from Collingwood at this stage and Matty Rao. But he's on the chopping block because that break-even is 61 now, higher than his average of 52. Look, he's got an 80 score in him. We've seen that. But if you are looking to downgrade or upgrade, then Butterick could be a man. I think a good move could possibly be to get Butterick out this week and maybe bring in an Arts if you're looking to bring in a rookie and downgrade somewhere. So that pretty much sums up all the relative break-evens. Some of my thoughts on who I've got in the watch list, looking to bring in some of those guys that I think, unfortunately, we need to sell. Matty Rowe's got to go. Lockie Whitfield, I think, is a really good target to bring in, along with Jordan Ridley and Arts as a rookie from Richmond. So I think they're probably the best 3 buys for this week, along with probably Max Gawn as well. Now, he hasn't got a really low break-even, but remember that I think that we need to get him in our sides at some stage. So the sooner the better with Maxi. If you can swing him in somehow this week, I say go for it. So thanks again, guys. Hope all is well. Take care, and I'll see you again soon with the next one. Cheers, guys. Bye.